And so many people in life are feeling bored. They're going through life in a kind of bored state. And one of the things that when you talk to people and you go kind of, what's the opposite of bored, or what should you do? They'll go, get busy, become busy. What you need to do is become busier. But when you actually analyze bored, the opposite to bored is not busy. Strangely enough, the opposite to bored is entertained. What people have is a lack of entertainment in their life. So, I can start to give you all the things to do or what you could try and change. But instead of that, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try and entertain you for a minute just to make the point. And I'm going to do it with my favourite story in the world. And it's an entirely true story, every single word of it. When I was young, I had two cousins, Darren and David. And I'd no brothers or sisters. And they were kind of the nearest thing to me. They're both just a bit younger than me. David first, then Darren. And we grew up very close, and David was the opposite to me. I was always in trouble, always. Very bad in school, problems everywhere, did nothing but cause trouble. David was a very studious, thoughtful, really good guy, really nice guy, really good guy. And it came as a surprise to absolutely nobody when David decided to do medicine. So he went in, did medicine, and of course sailed through it because he was David. And David was that type of a guy. Now, David got his first posting and he was sent to Limerick. I think it was the Limerick, because it's over 30 years ago, the Limerick Regional Hospital. But anyway, it was in Limerick. And off he went, he got rooms and all the rest of it, and he went down. He was down there for about a month, and he came back for his first visit to Dublin. I remember asking him about it, I won't go into that. But David, so he was up for the weekend, and on the Sunday, he was going to get the train back down in Houston Station. Now, the other thing about David is David was a celiac, which meant he had to be very careful about what he ate. So as he was going through the station, somebody selling plums. So he bought a bag of plums, got on the train, settled in, settled down, got into a seat, fella sitting opposite him. Anyway, train pulled out of the station. So after about 10 minutes, David opened the bag of plums. Now he had them on the table, took out a plum, started to eat it. This fella sitting opposite him looked at him, put his hand into the bag, took out one of the plums, started eating it. And David's going, Jesus, what'll I say? What'll I do? So he did nothing. Because now, put in context, Dave is about 6'2". He played centre back. He wasn't a great footballer, but he was a committed footballer. You wouldn't want to, strong as a bull. You wouldn't want to, he wouldn't be, like, he wasn't a small little fella is what I mean. Anyway, so Dave says, I thought I'd leave it. Went on about another half hour. Dave puts his hand in, takes out another plum. Your man puts his hand in, takes out another plum. And Dave says, now I'm starting to get angry with him. Starting to get angry, but he says, say nothing. So he says, I left it. And just before they came to Limerick, Dave takes another plum. Your man put his hand in, take the last plum and start eating it. So Dave says, at this stage, I knew he was mad. He says there was something wrong with this fella. He was mad. So Dave said, because this is the sort of stuff he was telling me about the hospital. You're exposed to an awful lot of weird things and weird people, So he said, all I could think of was now, keep the head cool, get it off the train. And he said, I was actually looking for him, like making sure he wasn't following me or anything. He said it was that kind of thing. Dave got back to his rooms relieved now to make sure your man had disappeared into the ether, and unpacked his gear. And out of his bag, doesn't he take his bag of plums? Now, that's my favourite story of all time. Not because of Dave, but because to this day, there's still a fella down in Limerick going, Dublin. I haven't been in Dublin in over 30 years. I'll tell you what happened to me when I went to Dublin. Right? They sell you plums in the station so their friends can get on and eat them out of the bag while you're sitting there. Can you imagine this poor fella? Dave had an explanation for it. Your man never had an explanation his entire life, sitting there going, mad people from Dublin, they'd eat your plums out of your bag and you sitting there. Isn't it weird? Isn't it weird? My friends, I don't know whether that entertains you. I hope it does. But let me tell you, don't be lazy about trying to create entertainment for yourself, because that's quite often the problem we put it on the long finger, we mean to do it. You know, if you can entertain yourself, if you can have a laugh along the way, if you can have a laugh at the journey, you know, maybe buy yourself a bag of plums. That might be a good start. Look after yourself. I'll talk to you soon.